All right, welcome to Elk Shape YouTube channel. This is our third edition with Ryan Alltus, special guest, public land elk hunter extraordinaire, a good buddy of mine, also a firefighter, civil servant, and just good, solid Christian man. And we're lucky to have you. Appreciate it, Ryan. We're gonna flow through these questions quickly. This one's from, how do you say that name? Raul? Villerin? Villerin? Hopefully we didn't butcher that too bad.
I think we probably did. Sorry
He's
about
from
that.
California. He's been joining the Q&A videos of the training and the bow hunting. He primarily hunts solo. He knows that I do as well. Ryan does as well. He's packed out hogs and deer, but he's yet to pack out an elk. Can you tell us the details about the most miserable solo elk pack outs? What is typically the furthest distance that you have killed your bulls? How many pack trips can you make? Give us a breakdown, etc. So I'll let you start, like your best pack out elk story.
My best pack out elk story solo?
Sure.
Probably this bull right here. 5 trips. Granted, it was only about a half an hour with weight on my back, but a half an hour doing. So I shot him in the morning, and I had the last load of meat out to my truck right before dark. So that was definitely my most rewarding, is doing this by myself, going to a state that I had never even been in, killing a 370 bull and then packing him out by myself. So the biggest thing packing out solo, I like to bone out my meat. I don't pack out bones, I don't eat bones, so I don't pack it out. So I would recommend everybody debone their meat, not to mention it cools it off quicker. You can hang it in a tree. If you're doing it solo, you may need to take 2 days to do it. There's been plenty of times where I've hung quarters in a tree and come back the next day.
For sure.
You kill an elk, you spend half of the evening, half of the night boning them out, hang them in a tree, let them cool, get that wind on all 4 corners of that meat bag, and come back the next day and just take your time. Don't hurt yourself. If you need to, depending on weather, if it's not too hot, give it 2 days. I mean, it can hang there as long as the weather's good. It's not in the sun. There aren't flies getting to it and laying eggs inside the bag. As long as that's in line, then I mean you're good to leave it for 3 or 4 days if you need to.
Okay, that's pretty phenomenal. Ryan packed out this bull by himself. One thing I keep on mentioning in these videos is please bring like a tie back or a little tarp or like a solar blanket, something that you can kind of get laid out if you're by yourself. It's just gonna make life easier when you pop that heavy quarter off. Where do I put it? You can put it on the tarp, and then you can really work on deboning an elk. One of these years, you and I are going to kill an elk together, and we're going to do the best video ever on how to break down an elk. It's going to be phenomenal. But my worst pack out, there's been so many, but the one that's really special to me is I killed a bull, I think similar to where you shot that one over there, and I killed it like 10 o'clock in the morning, and I'd been hunting since probably in the dark. So it took me for quite a while to get back to my bike. I gutted it. That's all I did. I just gutted it and got it rolled over and cooling. And I got back to my bike, drove to the cabin. We had a bunch of friends over, and I was able to recruit my wife, her friend Kira, her husband Gary, my dad, and his wife Andrea, and me. So the 6 of us went back, hiked all the way down there, got that bull, and it took us forever to get down, and forever. Brush fields galore, and football fields, just football field brush. And 2 in the morning is when we made it back to the cabin, and that one just stands out for me because we made 6 boxes of macaroni and cheese, and everybody had a cold beer, and now 5 other people had finally experienced what it's like to pack elk out. It was cool. It was totally cool. Thanks for the question, Ralph. All right, this one is from Clay Pearson. He says, how did you know when it was right for you to start archery elk hunting? I've hunted deer and rifle in eastern Washington for approximately 7 years. I just bought a bow about 8 months ago, and I practiced with it nonstop. I don't know if I'm getting in over my head or starting to hunt a new breed of game and a new weapon. I am also not sure how to tell if I'm ready to start hunting with my bow or give it more time to practice. So that's pretty one easy. You can handle that one.
I knew it was right for me. I started archery hunting for deer. So I was basically bears in Idaho. When I first started, bear season opened on August 30th, and that's the same day that archery season opened for deer and elk. So I was hunting with my dad, had a rifle for bears, and then I'd bring my bow for deer. I really didn't know how to archery hunt elk. And we ended up having a bull that was similar to this size, still the biggest bull that I've ever seen in Idaho, come screaming in on us. And that was the time when I was like, okay, it's time for me to start archery elk hunting. And it took, that was probably in 97, and I didn't kill an elk with my bow until 2002.
Yep.
So
yeah, it's a learning curve. I would say the same thing. I killed a bull with a rifle when I was, I think, 20 or 21. I played sports all the way through high school, and I think maybe I was 19 because it was my first year not playing fall sports, and I was like, Dad, want to go hunting again? Like, we used to do that before high school, and he's like, yeah. We scouted for deer, we found elk instead, we looked up the regs in Washington State, found out there was an elk season coming up for rifle, went out, what do you know, I shot my first bull, and I was like, holy crap, this elk is like 6 or 7 deer.
Yeah.
I can get enough meat to feed everybody, and the racks are way bigger. And then obviously I looked into archery and found out how I can hunt these guys during the rut with a bow. Bought a bow like the next day. Went down, bought a bow, and then practiced all that year. And in my mind, I was going elk hunting with a bow because I just was all in. I burned the ships and I was ready and committed. So, like Ryan, I started elk hunting in 2002 with a bow, and I didn't kill my first bull till I think 2005. And so there was several years of just making every mistake. And it's a steep learning curve, but stay at it. So I think you might be ready, but it's a personal decision.
Don't start bow hunting unless you have room for another addiction, though.
That's the truth. This one's from Mitchell Dueling. He wants to know, he's got some general questions. What is the best method to hunt elk? Do you call or not? How many days ahead should you scout? How long after the kill should you wait to find the animal? What is the best range to shoot them at for bow hunting? And how do you scent yourself, or what is the best product to use? Scent yourself. Oh, okay, I guess people do that. I don't do it. I don't do that either. But okay, we'll rapid fire answer this. What is the best method to hunt elk?
With a bow.
Do you call or not?
Yes, a lot probably.
How many days ahead should you scout?
However many you have.
Yes.
If you have a month, spend a month.
The answer is yes. Scout. Yes.
Yes.
How long after the kill should you wait to find the animal?
See, I like to wait longer than most people. I've heard too many stories of people shooting an elk. They say it's a perfect shot. Okay, let's give it 15 minutes, and they end up jumping it. A one-lung bull that's been jumped, they can probably live. I've heard of stories of a one-lung bull being jumped and living 8 hours. So for me, obviously, if I double lung a bull, I'm not gonna wait. I'm not gonna just run in on him, but I'm not gonna wait at 8 hours. So like this bull right here, I thought I double lunged him. Granted, when he whirled, it ended up being a little quarter inch, so I got one lung, and I gave him like 4 or 5 hours.
Holy smokes! Yeah,
and he ended up dying, but I would rather lose a little tiny bit of meat than the entire elk. So I'll give him a little extra time. I don't want to push him. I want them to be relaxed. I want them to lay down, and I just want them to go to sleep.
Yeah. Go to sleep. That's really good advice. I would just listen to Ryan.
Unless I watch him go down, it's a minimum for me of an hour. An
hour minimum. That's a great place to start. An hour minimum. Remember, I killed 2 bulls this year in Idaho. Both called in. Both good bulls. Shot what I thought was broadside. Wasn't. They were slightly quartering. So both bulls, I hit one lung and liver, which is a fatal shot. You cannot live. Mm-hmm. But they need over an hour to die with that shot.
Oh yeah.
And that's at 15, 20 yards, and I thought I had double lung broadside. So I would go with Ryan and say hour minimum, and I applaud him for 4 hours on that other bull. That takes a lot of discipline.
It's the hardest 4 hours.
I bet. All right, what is the best range to shoot them at for bow hunting? We talked about this earlier, but
close.
Get close. How do you scent yourself? What is the best product to use?
I don't use any scents. Once in a while, if I find like an elk bed that's been peed in or something, I'll stick my knees in it or rub my shoes in it. But for the most part, I don't care what you put on. I don't care what you do. If the wind is wrong, they're gonna smell you. Plain and simple.
Thanks for the questions, Mitchell. Tyler Henderson, loving the Q&A vlog. Keep them coming. My question is, what are your thoughts on setting wallows to kill elk? I have used this tactic with great success in my hunting career. I believe it is a tactic that doesn't get talked about too much, but could be useful to some of your subscribers. Everyone watches the Primos videos and heads into the hills with their calls in hand. I have called in several bulls for myself and others throughout the years and love this type of hunt. But the majority of the bulls I have killed have been over water source of some type. Thanks for your time and inspiration, Tyler Henderson.
Well, my first elk was in a tree stand over a wallow. So obviously it's successful. You can do it. It's not my favorite way to do it. I like to be on the ground. I like to be running around. I like to chase them down. I hate being stuck in one spot. But now if it's early season, if it's like Utah and your season opens in August, then obviously sitting in a water hole is probably the best.
Yeah.
If there's not a lot of elk bugling, there's not a lot of rutting activity, I have no problem sitting watering holes. Arizona, New Mexico, where it's crazy hot and they have to go to water, I say yeah, sit watering holes. They're great tools to utilize. But I like to be on the ground. I like to be moving around.
I'm with you. I do. I mean, but he's right. You know, Tyler, you can kill a lot of elk over water or wallows, especially in the Southwest. I think that's critical. When we were in Arizona, Arizona was so dry this year. We had contemplated, which I can't even believe, but the hunting was so hard that we both talked about sitting in water.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, neither of us ever did. So that's something to think about. I do have several tree stands over wallows that I put out. Last year I did sit one day, but I also checked the cameras to see if it's worth my while. Let the cameras do the research. But no, man, I'm with Ryan. I want to move.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna sit a tree stand, it's gonna be for whitetail.
I just can't sit still enough, so
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that anything coming in is going to see me. So.
Thank you, Tyler. Taylor LeBlanc, do you break down your elk hunting fitness into quarterly training plans in order to progressively build up to the season as it approaches? I hunt in Colorado. I am a 42-year-old veteran with several ailments such as reconstructed knee, ankle, among other things, and love the high country hunt. Do you think I should be breaking down my workouts into quarters or by the month, etc.? All right, so I'll try to tackle this one. So first off, thank you for your service.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, Taylor. Your body is resilient, and I think if you stay physically active, you'll be able to overcome these ailments. I don't know. I think you should break down your goals. So you have a big goal to hunt elk by September. Then I think you need to work your way backwards and set small little goals that lead to the big goal. For example, if you want to be in great hunting shape, you should probably be able to hike 10 miles with 40 pounds on your back. I don't think day one you go and do that. I think you maybe walk around your block with your backpack on with 20 pounds in it. And maybe in week 2, you add a little incline. But periodization or slowly building up to peak, especially the older you are, I think it's a great idea. But figure out what your exact goal is, set a big goal, and then work your way backwards so you have small goals or checkpoints along the way. Journal or write down your success. It's extremely powerful for you to see your progress. What other advice do you have?
I think you pretty much
Okay.
hit the nail on the head.
Good luck, Taylor. Thanks for your service.
Thank you for your service.
Virgil, hey Dan, I've been hunting elk for a couple years now with no success. The area that I've been hunting shows signs of elk, rub, poop, tracks, and I see elk almost every day I hunt, but I haven't closed the gap yet. This is an OTC, over-the-counter unit in Colorado with very low success rates, 8 to 15% depending on the season. The reason I picked this unit was available time to scout because I get to work there during the summer. I've really been looking at a different unit with much higher success rates, that is OTC also. What are some of the things you look for while scouting from home to build a list of multiple locations to check once you can get boots on the ground? So like in your New Mexico hunt, he had several locations mapped out to go check out in foot or in person. What are those? How do you come up with those areas?
Like I said earlier, just maps. I mean, I love looking at maps. I pick 6 areas, 3 areas, 2 areas. You know, I always have a backup area though. I'm not just going to go in there with one area. I'm going to go in there with at least 2 areas. That if this one doesn't work, go here. But it sounds like you're in an area that has elk. You see the sign, you see the rubs. If you're comfortable staying there, it sounds like just a tactic issue that you're just not getting close enough, which I spent many years failing every single time that I tried to get in on elk. It was extremely frustrating. I know the feeling, so you're in an area with elk. I'd be persistent and keep at them. Just try switching things up. If you do something one day and it doesn't work, try something else the next day. Change
your tactics, Virgil. Stay in the same area. You're learning the area. That's critical. You're not bouncing off. You know this area. Learn it. That's huge. And then I think Ryan hit it out of the park. Change your tactic. What does that mean? Bugle one day. Challenge bugle. Don't make a sound one day. Just go silent, run deep. Sit a wallow one day. Bivvy out one night. Go camp down in the bottom with the scent going downhill in the very bottom of the creek with go set water, go camp up on top one day. Just try different angles. Try to coyote the herd. Try to flank the herd. Try to challenge the herd. I mean, you gotta just keep mixing it up. You know what I mean? Change out your calls. Get a caller. I mean, don't have a caller.
I think the best thing though, the best piece of advice I can give is, if the wind is wrong, back out. Do not go in there because you're just educating elk. So if you're on the ridge top and you're looking down, okay, this is the canyon that I'm going to be hunting today, and your wind's going down, I would completely back away from that canyon. Don't even go in there, because you never know if there's an elk 200 yards below you that scented you, took off, and told the rest of the elk in the area. So that's one thing that I've heard a lot of people that man, I'm just not having any luck. Like, okay, well, what are you doing? Oh, in the mornings I get out of my truck and I walk down the ridge. Okay, well, typically in the mornings the thermals are going down. So basically everywhere that you're walking, you're sending your scent and letting these elk know that you're there. So if at all possible, try and keep that wind in your face, no matter what. And if it's not right, back out. Like my Idaho bull this year, I went in there the night before, the wind was wrong, he was still bugling, I turned around and walked out. Awesome. I would way rather give them a day and come back the next day without them knowing that I'm there than trying to force it and trying to get in there too soon and blowing them out of there, and then now you're starting over from square one.
That's the best advice you've given in this entire talk series. So discipline is freedom. If you discipline yourself not to go after an elk when the wind's not right, you will have the freedom to hunt that elk again another day.
Yeah.
And the chances of you screwing it up and trying to risk when the wind's bad, you may not be able to hunt that elk again. And you only have a finite number of days in the field, so I think that's the best advice.
That may even mean waiting a half an hour until the sun comes up and the thermals change. So it doesn't mean that you're gone, that
not
canyon's done for the whole day. It just means just give it a little time.
Cool. I think that covers this series of Q&A. This was Ryan Alltus, one of my good buddies, phenomenal elk hunter. Where can people find you, Ryan?
Instagram, Facebook. Instagram, Ryan Alltus.
Instagram, Ryan Alltus.
Yep.
Check him out. Last year he killed 3 bulls, and his total gross score between 3 bulls over 1,000 inches. These are all tags that anyone could get either over the counter or he drew. These aren't landowner tags or high fence hunts. These are all fair chase hunts with a bow, and the bow that he used was his father's, Jeff's, who passed away in 2016.
Yep. June of 2016,
and Ryan was able to use his dad's bow and harvest 3 bulls over 1,000 with his dad's bow. So rest in peace, Jeff, and Ryan, you're a good man. Thanks for your time, brother.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.